unmuted. Why wasn't I unmuted? Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Can I just sit here and not say anything for like a minute? Jess and Clutch already here and waiting. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to think. Like, wow, that first half was so bad in every sense of the word. And by that, I don't just mean how we played, but everything around it, everything that created us playing this badly. How do you go from what it was in Dortmund to this? How do you basically change out half the team to this, and then this happens? Well, you couldn't have gone it more wrong, could you? How does the opposition, the whole world, know half our team the day before we play the game? How does our team... How? At this point, like, people, if you guys have followed this channel for long enough, you know I've been defending is maybe the wrong word, but certainly backing. I'm like, okay, let's see what happens once he's had a bit more time. But now I'm not willing to give it more time now, I think, because that was just not, like, that first half was unacceptable. And yes, the second half was then a bit more just unlucky and stuff because our team just can't score, and that then isn't Potter's fault. But that first half was so bad in every sense of the word, I can't do anymore. I honestly can't do anymore. I mean, put your thoughts in the chat. Like, we've been... Southampton, who are currently bottom of the table, I'm not sure if they're still now that they beat us, but who were bottom of the table before playing us, they've done a double over us. The double. Fulham. No, I think we've got a draw. But this is still against Fulham in the home game, didn't we? But still, the amount, like, nah. I don't even know. I'll bring the boys in and see if they can help me out because I'm just done. Thank you for joining, all of you guys. Appreciate you all. Jess, I'll start with you. What can you even say? What can you even say after this, man?
Well, I can start with Potter out. I was Potter out when we lost Wednesday. I said he should be sacked before he got on the plane. This guy is not on the level of Chelsea Football Club. He's not a PE teacher. You know, that was used for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's a college professor. Just give him a tweed jacket, a turtleneck, and you can put some patches on his elbows and give him a freaking pipe, and he can go to university. But because he damn sure cannot motivate men to do great things. This guy needs to go today. End of story. Don't want to talk about it anymore.
And the fact that even I am basically agreeing with you says enough. You know, quite frankly. I will let you go into more detail in a few minutes, of course, Jester. Clutch, I get to you. Thank you for being on, as always, mate, when you can on the weekend. Similar boat to myself and, well, Jester maybe has been on that boat a little longer, but similar boat to me then now, because my real concern is that I don't see who the replacement is. And I am scared the replacement is going to be bad too. That's what scares me about calling for the manager to get sacked. I am not one to call for a manager to get sacked. I tend to try and avoid that as long as I can and as much as I can. But there are limits. And you can't get Southampton to do the double over you. You can't play the way we did in that first half. You can't rotate half the team and then turn up like this when you've had 2 wins in 13 games. I understand rotating players and resting players because we don't want to overdo it with injuries. But well, it doesn't matter whether we have injuries if we keep losing anyway. So, like, you know, so what do you think? What do you think, Clutch?
I'm going to start off with the guy in the chat who keeps saying, Laurenz, Hansi Flick's available. No, he's not. Shut up. Stop. He's not available. He's not coming. It's not possible. It's impossible. Stop. And what I will say, the only argument I have against firing Potter right now is who do you get? And if when you do get that next person, are you going to give them the opportunity for the next season? Because I don't see anybody available right now that I want to go into next season trying to build a team for. Now, do you go get an interim manager and wait and see in the summer who's available in the summer? That's the only option I have. And that's scary to me even. Like, anybody you have, I think, we've clearly seen that there is not progression. These players that we have bought are not playing or performing well, other than Joao Felix, who did have a stinker today. But we'll talk about that later. But it's just, there's so many things wrong that I don't know what solves what at the moment. But it's something clear. Something has to change. And I think my opinion is if you do leave him out, you just got to go for an interim manager because you can't hire somebody who you want to be a project manager. because there's nobody available right now that I would want.
Okay, fair enough. Aaron, I'll get to you. Thank you for being on as well. I mean, you're making your opinion very clear with your name on screen there. What can you say? And Felix, I will get to your super chat in a few minutes as well. But Aaron, first of all, let's try if I can hear you. I think so, though. But let's try it out. What do you think, man?
Yeah, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah.
Sorry, my voice is gone a little bit because I was at a Chris Brown concert in the week, so I'm still recovering from that. But yeah, what is there left to say? Like, this is fucking ridiculous. I think he's managed 11 Premier League games, and in those games we've got 10 points. That is a fucking joke. Knocked out of both domestic cups in the first round, lost the first leg to Dortmund. This can't go on any longer. That's 2 wins in, what is it, 15 or 17?
I think 14, maybe 15.
I think it's 15 or something like that. That's a fucking joke. An absolute joke. All I'm doing is literally just going through Twitter and you're seeing all of these statistics about, he's got the lowest win percentage of any Chelsea manager in the last God knows how many years. And
probably ever at this point.
We're just breaking new records. It's a fucking joke. Southampton, 20th place Southampton, have done the double on us this season. Do you know how ridiculous that is? This is so shit. Today we had an XG of 1.56. Fucking, we lost the game 1-0. It's so stupid. I've had enough. I don't care who the fuck is in charge. Fuck it. Have a player manager for all I give a shit. Fucking, I don't know. Fucking Reece James, fucking player manager. Go on, lad. But
Thiago Silva, right?
Yeah, fucking Thiago Silva. He probably
maybe kept right. You know, he's had experience.
That's a good point, but fuck it, Thiago Silva, player manager, and just fuck everything else off because this is a job. I can't do this. He has to go. He has to go after today. We cannot go into the next game and he still be the manager. This cannot run. It's a joke.
I don't disagree. Just I'll go back to you and I'll ask you a somewhat differently worded question now, even if it's basically the same thing. Not, do you think he should be sacked? The question is now, do you think Bowley will sack him?
Well, I don't read minds. That's not my forte at all. He should sack him. Will he?
Yeah.
I don't know. But this guy has nothing that's convinced me that he can do this job. I don't care if you give him a year. Don't give him 2 years. I'll say this. Do you think that Graham Potter can win the UCL or the EPL at Chelsea? If the answer is no, what are we doing?
Like I say, what I'm scared of is that whoever we replace Potter with, the answer will also be no.
Okay, Luis Enrique. Hansi Flick is available, by the way. He has 1 year left on his German team.
There's no way the manager of Germany leaves the Germany post before a home Euros. Like, there's no way.
Well, he might if money talks, bullshit walks. That's what they say.
I mean, you can certainly ask him, but has he been good enough for Germany to make anyone think that that's what we want? I know he was great at Bayern, but, Potter was also pretty great at Brighton. Didn't mean he was good for us, does it?
He wasn't Hansi Flick levels at Bayern. Let's not go there.
Hansi Flick has only had 2 jobs in his life. One, as a first-team manager. One was Bayern, where he won everything. If Mbappe could score from 3 yards, he wouldn't have won everything. And then he's been at Germany, where he's been, equally as bad as Jogi Löw at the end of 14 years. So, I'm not sold on it, man. I don't want to build this club with too many Germans.
Here's a dark horse. Bring back Jose Mourinho.
Mate, bring back Tuchel.
I'm all for that.
I mean, for the
I'll take Jose.
Jose is ready to go someplace else.
We're signing all these young players and we want to do a project. If you get Jose, it's not going to work, is it? Like, you're going to have to sack Jose in a year again or 18 months.
You got to remember, at this point, beggars can't be choosers. We are so
I understand. I understand the sentiment. Absolutely. I get it. But
even just forgetting the sentiment,
it's not just about our opinion. It's about what is Bowley and the board going to do, right? And they will not bring, I don't think anyway, they will not bring a manager in who they see for the short term unless it's an interim situation.
But then
I don't see them doing that. And then
the thing is,
you can't be Jose. You can't plan long term with Jose anymore. You can't.
But then even now, he's signed a 5-year deal, a total deal of 60 million. If he sells him, he's going to have to pay, sacks him, sorry. He's going to have to pay him out a stupid amount of money. And I don't see them doing that because they've given him such a long-term contract with a fucking huge wages as well. It's just financially they're going to look at it and think, fuck, that's like a good, 50 million they're going to pay him out of his contract. That's stupid money. I don't think they'll do it. But just the interesting stat that I found. So the Premier League this season started on August 12th. Thomas Tuchel was sacked on the 7th of September, so that's less than a month. Since then, we've had Graham Potter, and Thomas Tuchel has 3 times the wins Graham Potter has in the Premier League.
But that's not true, though, is it?
That's something I've seen on Twitter. I am assuming.
If you mean this season, because if it's this season, that's BS.
No, it can't be true.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now. That's BS.
I'm pretty sure that's not true. Like, that doesn't change the fact that we've not had enough wins, but I think that stat isn't true. But regardless of that, I will get to loads of your super chats in a second, guys. Trust me, I will get to them. I will let me just ask the same question to Clutch. Do you think Bowley will sack him?
Not this week. I think if it goes bad next weekend, I do think it will happen.
So we need to lose to Spurs to fucking get rid of him. My God. Oh, my days. Let me get through a few of these super chats and we'll get the boys' thoughts on it as well. Because of how today went and how I'm at the point where I'm like, I mostly just want to get kind of the manager. I've had enough now. Yes, we're going to do player ratings, but I kind of like it doesn't even matter right now how each individual did because, well, if we have a new manager, it's a whole new story anyway. But first super chat here by Felix. Appreciate it. He says, we bought players in Board's vision. Board didn't appoint Potter. Want a manager that suits that vision. They had 9 L's in the last 10. We are 3 dubs in 17. Is that a fair point, or is that an argument to be made, Aaron? That the board didn't appoint Potter? I guess to some extent you can argue it's true, I suppose, because most of this board was only appointed after Potter was appointed. Well, some of the board was appointed alongside Potter, and the rest of it was appointed after. So, is it a case of this manager isn't part of the board's vision? Because I'm not like it might not be working absolutely, but I think that's a bit of an easy and a cheap way out, if I'm honest, to take the blame of the board here.
Yeah, it's a very easy way. Whatever way anyone wants to spin it, the fact of the matter is, if we're being frank about it, we've made a big mistake. We've fucked it completely. We know the situation with Tuchel. It was never going to work with the divisions they both had anyway. So that was always going to end sour. But the appointment that they've made is it couldn't have gone much worse, and they're going to have to just take that one, fucking firm it, because they've really fucked up here, and then do something about it. Because the longer they leave this, we are going to just free fall down the table. We might end up in the bottom half. Like this is ridiculous. We are 3 points above the bottom half of the table. That's a fucking joke. But it's just the appointment.
When I see our form, to be honest, bro, I'm surprised we're not in the bottom half of the table as is.
Mate, we have relegation form. This is beyond a joke at this point. I don't know what they're gonna do, because when they look at it, they're gonna think of the length of contract they've got him on and the payout. But if they let this continue to free fall, it is gonna financially in the long term, we're gonna not be qualifying for Europe. We're going to be going out of these competitions early. We're not going to be finishing as high up the table, so you get less money. We're going to be fucked. They need to do something, and I don't have the confidence that they'll do it. I think he's going to be here until the end of the season, especially when they're saying, "Oh, you need to look at him on a yearly thing and not just not right now." I just think it's bullshit. We just have to fucking face it that we're screwed. We have to do something. This can't go on any longer. It can't.
Yeah, exactly. Jesse, you're shaking your head. What do you want to say?
Yeah, first of all, don't listen to anything that was reported, because they're having a mayor this year. So if that quote was taken out of context to write an article, y'all got to bend all that stuff. Billionaires don't like to lose in anything, whether they gave him a long contract or not. If he doesn't deliver, he's gone. End of story. And first of all, this is a bunch of waffle in the super chat. Appreciate the super chat, but the board is the owner, okay? And all of these people that were brought in knew who the manager was already appointed to be, and they all had to sign off of it before they came into Chelsea. So please stop this nonsense, okay? The board, this is a non-issue. The only reason it's an issue is because Potter cannot coach at the top level. Okay, everybody thought he could.
The one thing I will say is we're not anywhere near the top level anyway. You know, like that's the next problem. We're not even talking, okay, we're 5th and we're struggling to get to fight with the top. We're 10th and struggling to not fall into the bottom half. We're not even talking to coaching at the top. We're not anywhere near the top.
Well, that's fine at Brighton, though, isn't it? 10th is fine at Brighton.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so he's coaching at his level.
Yeah, just with much better players is the problem.
With much better players that he's actually and look, you could sack him when the lineup came out. Why are you putting Mason Mount in the team? He's already got one foot out the door, and he's done nothing all year long. And all he does is stand by next to two other players and allow the defense to collapse on us. He was the problem in the first half with Joao Felix. Because if you look at his heat map, he was all over the pitch. Wasn't playing left wing, was just all over the pitch. Yeah. This dude plays against us. I tweeted it in the first half. He just plays against us, dude. So you can say all you want to about the board and them not being lockstep. Potter is just not the coach. He needs to go, and he needs to go today before we fall any further.
Yeah, but I think that's what the Super Chat is trying to say, though, that they're like, maybe this board will have a better suggestion of a different manager. I think that's what they're trying to say. Hopefully the people that know football, now that we have appointed since, will pick a better manager than Bowley picked. I think that's what he's trying to get at.
Well, some of these people on the board are Potter's people.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So what are we talking about here? Come on.
I mean, they might. I'm sure even Potter himself thinks Pep Guardiola is a better manager than himself. So, you know, the one thing I guess doesn't exclude the other. But Clutch, how do you see this kind of the board's vision situation? Do you agree with Chester that either they were hired with Potter or they were hired to work with Potter? So they must have, at least in their opinion, seen something in Potter. Otherwise, they would have not agreed to work with him, right?
Probably. I don't know. I guess. Probably the best way to put it. I mean, it just seems like Bowley was putting in place everybody to work in together. That's why Tuchel left, because he didn't want to work with the board and didn't want to have like responsibility like that. So I would agree with Jester, to be honest. So that's all I got.
First. Let me get to the next super chat. I won't fall for it again. I did yesterday. Not going to read out your name, but appreciate the donation regardless. I think on the back of me saying earlier, I'm scared of whoever the next manager may be. He says, you know what's scarier? Keeping this man as manager and expecting he'll somehow make this team click next season. Sack him now, bring in an interim. I agree.
An interim.
I mean, depending on who's available, I agree with Chester. Obviously, if you find someone that you like that you can convince of joining now, obviously that's better. But that may not be possible depending on who they want to get in, I suppose. I guess that depends. But yeah, I don't fully disagree. Go on, Aaron, what are you going to say? Something?
If you're looking at the form we're rolling with at the moment, I think we might need Big Sam to make us avoid relegation, because this is ridiculous. Manager is the only position I think Bowley hasn't tried that yet, so you might want to give that a go.
Imagine we get Big Sam, man. Yeah. The next super chat, I think that was probably on the back of that stat we think is wrong, but he's wrong. Chelsea has 8 league wins, 4 of them under Tuchel, so they have the same amount of league wins. Obviously, maybe they were meant to say 3 times as many games and the same amount of wins in that. Maybe that's what they're trying to say. That would make a little bit more sense. But yeah, Jack Malloy with the big super chat, appreciate it very much. He says, I've seen enough, Potter out. Even I'm there now, if I'm honest. And Mof Nigerian says, how did Eddie Howe change Newcastle's Chester? How did he?
Well, he can actually coach. That's why. Eddie Howe has some spirit in him. I don't like this. Look, this guy, I like to see some fire and some spirit from my head coach. Okay? I was raised in a different era than most of y'all. And when I had a coach, I did something wrong. He tried to put a foot in my ass. You know, that's the type of stuff that motivates you not to make mistakes again. These are men. These aren't little boys playing on a pitch. You don't have to talk nice to them. What you need to do is challenge their manhood and see if they'll run through that brick wall for you. If they won't, you got the wrong player. If you can't motivate them to run through that brick wall, you got the wrong manager. And this guy can't motivate anybody. He can't motivate himself to get upset at VAR calls. He can't motivate himself to get upset the way the team plays.
To be fair to him, he motivated an entire fan base to want him to leave. So
Yeah, well,
Well,
brilliant.
yeah. That's my failing. I mean,
It is my failing. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to scroll through the chat in case I missed any super chats. I think I've got them both that I had missed. Is there another one here? Let me get to the next one and then I'll bring up the line and we can talk about it from there on. Indefinite says no charisma, no balls, dead tactics, Potter out. Yeah,
spot on.
Well, what can we say? What can we say? And a Ninja, I'm going to try to pronounce it. Sorry if I butchered it. Says we bought so many good young players. Klopp isn't happy with the Liverpool ownership and lack of funds. Get Klopp. Well, that's never going to happen. Klopp will never ever train another Premier League club outside of Liverpool. Yeah, but hey, you know, I guess you can hope and hope for it, I suppose. But yeah, that isn't going to happen, unfortunately. Let me bring up the lineup. Another one, Ace ready. That's life. Yeah, that is life. That's what he said. My God,
yeah,
that's life. This is life, and I don't like it. So you know, can we do something different, please? This is the team, and I want to, before we get back into talking Potter, before we talk about the team itself and how everybody played and blah blah blah, I want to talk about why and how we knew yesterday half the team. Not half the team that would start, but half the team that wouldn't be in the team. We knew Reece James would be left out of the squad. We knew Hakim Ziyech would be left out of the squad. Marco Corella would be left out of the squad. And Thiago Silva would be left out of the squad. As well as Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Why? How? I can't say for sure where it comes from. There is the rumors that it comes from Chalobah. I don't, before anything's proven, I don't even want to just sit here and slate him if it's maybe true, because if it's not, that's, you know, an outrageous thing to be said against you if it's not true. And Solomon appreciates it. You didn't say anything, but appreciate the donation regardless. But this is unacceptable. Obviously, this has nothing to do with why we lost today, in my opinion. Now, some people said, oh, this is clearly a team that knew what to prepare for. Horse crap. Absolute horse crap. Nothing to do with anything. But the next problem I have with it, not only did we find out yesterday, half of them I don't even understand. Okay, Reece James, fair enough. Reece James said a few days himself he can't play every game. Reece James started every game since coming back from injury and was only subbed off early on one of those occasions. So I understand that maybe he would, whether he's on the bench or just left out. Okay, I get it. Fair enough. Thiago Silva is 38, maybe fair enough. But Ziyech, why? Like, he clearly didn't need a rest. Why couldn't he be on the bench? Cucurella, now we heard about the burglary thing, but it supposedly happened shortly after he moved. So surely that can't all of a sudden have been the reason. And if anything, I thought like he was dreadful against West Ham and was at least a bit better than he was against West Ham when he came on against Dortmund. So he didn't even play the start of the last game. Why would he need to be left out today? I just don't understand. I'll start with you, Clutch. What do you think about this whole the team news a day early? Like, I don't even like it when it's 2 hours early, but a day early. This is disgraceful, and we need to instantly find whoever is responsible for this and sack them. And if they're a player, yesterday I still said punish them, but frankly, sack them as well, because you cannot have that. It's literally. You know, when we had the whole Jose malarkey and we were 16th and sacked Jose and everything, there was like fans, you know, coming out with the banner saying Hazard, Costa and Seska are rats because of what the media reported. This is what a real rat is. Releasing team news a day before, that's who the rat is. And you can have a go at Sam, who's obviously the guy releasing it, but he's not a Chelsea fan. He's doing his own thing. He's making his career of getting this information. The problem isn't Sam. He doesn't owe Chelsea anything. But whoever is employed by Chelsea in releasing this information, they owe Chelsea something. And this is, in my opinion, utterly disgraceful. And in my opinion, even worse than this first half today. I know that maybe people have probably different priorities to me in that sense, but this is where we're talking principle and not performance. And that I draw a big line here. But what do you think, Clutch?
It is a massive problem. I mean, the fact that it's a day early, the fact that like it does give an advantage to your opponent. I mean, do we see Southampton leaking lineups? Not that it should matter for us any, because we should be able to beat them regardless, but I think it's a massive problem. I mean, I've heard rumors of it being multiple different players. One of them I won't say because you'll immediately ban me off the channel. I think It's just in every sport, any advantage is an advantage, and when other teams are constantly getting information that, I mean, it's cool as fans, we like to know that, oh yeah, cool, but you also got to understand from the other perspective is it's still an advantage for the other team. We still should be able to win, but you shouldn't give them advantages like that either. So we do need to find out who it is. That does need to be an investigation, how all this information is getting out. But I think as soon as you do that, as soon as it becomes like a known thing, I think it'll be harder to get that information. So they need to do it secretively, however they're going to do it, but they need to do it. You're muted, brother.
I'm muted, sorry. Do you think they need to do it secretively? I think whoever it is, they need to out them.
I mean, they need to start the investigation secretly.
But...
They don't need to outwardly say, oh, well, we have to investigate this. They need to secretly investigate it behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But once they find out who it is, they need, in my opinion, because whoever that person is shouldn't get another job in football. They frankly shouldn't. And this message here by Joe Barr that he's a member. If you want to become a member yourself, there's a join button underneath. If you're on desktop, and a link in the description if you're on your phone. He says, mate, do you really think releasing the team early is a big issue? Don't think it made a single bit of difference. In terms of the results, no, I don't think it made a single bit of difference at all, if I'm honest. But in terms of principle, in terms of loyalty, in terms of things being okay at the club, I think it says everything, in my opinion. Aaron, what do you think about the team being released early and all of those things?
We spoke about this yesterday, actually, me and yourself, and I do think they need to do something in terms of release a set of news, fake news to like staff first, and see if it gets leaked, and then release it to certain players and see if it gets leaked, and then that way just sort of figure out what's going on. Because even with these sorts of things, like in the age of social media, a lot of these players, they look at these things as well. And if all of us on Twitter and stuff can see who's going to be in the squad, who's not going to be in the squad like a day early, then that gives other teams tactical advantages, because you know who's going to play and who's not going to play at the end of the day. So then you're able to sort of, whether it helps to a huge degree or not is another thing, but you're still able to shape your game and adapt your tactics based on who's playing for the opposition. So I do think it's ridiculous, and it doesn't really help when you do have that Sam guy on Twitter putting it out. Like, I know he's trying to just do his thing or whatever, but it even if you have that information, kind of, it's one of them where if you get it, cool, but just keep it to yourself. Like, you don't have to put it out there for everybody to see. It does get annoying at times.
Oh, no, I agree. But, you know, like I say, he's not a Chelsea fan. If I had it about Man United, I might release it because I know it will be a problem for Man United. Do you know what I mean? I'll be bad.
Yeah, cool. So I get that as well. But yeah, it is annoying. But again, at this point, I'm just so emotionless with like everything else that's going on that it just really doesn't bother me that much anymore. Like, it is what it is. You can leak us the lineup a week in advance. We still know what the outcome of the game is going to be. We're still either going to draw or lose. It doesn't really change much.
I mean, I think for certain teams, I mean, you just pretty much know the team that's going to come out. So it's not hard to plan. Like, I mean, if you're going against United, you're going to plan for Fernandez, Rashford, Anthony, Casemiro, and all them. But it shouldn't make a difference, but it does make a difference.
Y'all didn't have to waffle on this long. All you have to say is snitches get stitches. That's it. Yeah. That's the policy. Snitches get stitches. You find out who's snitching and you stitch them up. That's all you have to say.
That's what I'm saying, though. We need to find out. Like, this has been happening for weeks. So, like, you know, that's why I'm talking about it at length, because this has not been a thing for once or twice. This has been a thing for weeks, and either we haven't tried or we haven't managed to find out who it is to give that, you know, snitch to snitch. Do you know what I mean?
That's easy to do. Like you say, you put up a bunch of false lineups out and you give them to different people who you think it might be.
That's what makes it worse. It's easy to do, and we still haven't done it.
Well, I don't think with all the crap going on with the team right now, they're worried about who's leaking information, because it doesn't matter, right? It's 20th place Southampton, who doesn't have a manager, just sacked their interim manager to bring another interim manager in. They lost to a 10-man squad, and we couldn't beat them. So I don't want to hear about.
I don't like this whole, we lost to an interim manager. Let's not forget we won the Champions League with an interim manager, okay? But
this is their second interim manager.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying, people are like, we lost. Like, losing to 20th Southampton is the bad part. Whether it's an interim manager or not, it doesn't change anything. If anything, makes it more difficult because you don't know what they're going to do you? But Jester, let's get to the team. Let's get to the lineup. You touched on it a lot earlier. You were unhappy with that. Was there too much rotation in your end? Would you have just kept all of the likes of Thiago Silva and Reece James, etc. in? Or is it a case of, we play bad with those players, we play bad with these players, does it matter?
Why is Mount on the field? There's no need for that. You go out and get a hobo.
Would you have kept Mudryk in, or what would you have done?
Well, I would have played Mudryk, or I would have started Sterling if you were only going to play for a half or 30 minutes, and then you bring Mudryk on. There is no reason to have Mason Mount near this pitch, on the bench, in the squad ever again. He is not a good player. He ruins the flow of the team, and he's gone in the summertime. Get him gone now. There's no reason. He's not going to be a player Chelsea player next year. Why are we playing him?
To be fair, we could say that about like 5 different players.
Okay, we could say that about Aspi. You could say that about Kovacic. That's about it. And Kovacic shouldn't start it either because he doesn't play well with Enzo. Kovacic wants to go forward. Enzo, he's supposed to be the creative spark. Well, you're leaving him on
He didn't go forward anyway. He tried like one dribble.
Well, but that's not his game. You should have had Zakaria next to him, who would have allowed Enzo to be the more offensive six.
And he didn't even come on again. So he's going to be less likely to be fully fit whenever we play the next game, whoever the manager may be by then. It's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, we have nearly 900 people watching, so I appreciate that a lot. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Never new subscriber count, so please do hit that big red subscribe button down below. That would be massively appreciated. Aaron, in terms of the team, did it matter to you, or do you agree with Jester where it's a case of just can't play Mount? I mean, I understand not starting Mudryk because the guy started every game, pretty much recently, didn't he? And well, we signed him at the very beginning of his preseason, basically out of his off season. So that he's not able to start every single game, that I see that. Okay, if Sterling, now I see Jester's point, if Sterling can play half an hour or a half at least, then I guess you could have done that. What if he can't play a half though? That's where it becomes difficult. But again, if you really had to, rather than putting Mount on the wing where he's not going to play on the wing anyway, and we were so bad in the first half that Chilwell couldn't even be used in attack because Southampton constantly had the ball and we couldn't even string 2 passes together. So it's not even like you could say, okay, Mount shifts a little bit inside and Chilwell provides that kind of threat from the wide attacking areas on the left. You can't even do that if you play the way we did. But Ziyech was there, like play Madueke on the left and Ziyech on the right, or Ziyech on the left. Like, it's still better than Mount on the wing, no? Like, what do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I think it would have been better to have a natural winger out there because it looked like Mount was out there and then he was drifting sort of into the false 9 a little bit. It was a bit strange. And Fofana was sort of drifting to the left when he was on the ball. He was sort of just running towards the left, which was weird as well. But if Sterling was fit enough to play the whole of the second half, then I feel like he could have started. But it's just whether it's a case of then
play the whole second half, my bad. So obviously he was clearly fit for that.
Yeah. So then, but the only thing is, if you can only manage like 45, then he's going to come off at half time anyway. So it's one of them where it's like if you can only play a half, you pick the first or second. Really, it doesn't make too much of a difference, I guess. But yeah, the lineup at this point, I think it's just got to a stage where we don't really give a shit because no matter what you put out there, it doesn't do anything. We just lose and draw anyway, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. What can I say? Clutch, thoughts? Team, would it have changed anything? Would it have done anything? Would it have meant anything?
I mean, Mudryk's in terrible form. Mount's in terrible form. I can see why they didn't want to start Sterling, risk him that quickly, but you clearly played him a half, probably out of necessity rather than want. I don't know. You know me. I don't want Mason Mount on the wing. I really only want him if he's playing as an 8. The fact that he keeps playing on the wing, it's really pissing me off. And I always said that if I seen him on the wing again, I don't care who the manager is. I'd be that manager out, which is something I even texted at the beginning of the group chat. It's just Mason Mount does not possess the qualities to play a winger. He doesn't want to be there. He's not good there. We knew that since Frank Lampard, and yet we keep doing it. Mason Mount's biggest strength when it comes to attacking is shooting from distance, and he doesn't really ever get into that position because he wants to do other things. He wants to get into the box. Mason Mount to succeed has to change the way he thinks about what kind of player he is. So other than that, I don't really got much. I mean, everything else is pretty much standard, I guess, other than maybe Aspie for Chalobah for Aspie, but I didn't think Aspie was that bad today, so crazy.
To prove the point, I did send you a DM.
You did, yeah. Let me get it up. The minor problem I have with it is that I see what the idea is, which I know you and maybe others will disagree now, but this is not too much of an uncommon shape to play. You basically play 2 center backs, 3 midfielders, that being Aspie, and then we wanted Chilwell to be high up and allow Mount to drift inside. The problem is because we didn't have the ball flipping enough, it didn't really work out. Like I understand what the idea is and where the idea comes from, but it just doesn't and didn't work now, did it?
You have to understand how easy it is to defend. You have 3 people in one area. You can guard those 3 people with 2 players. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to bring 3 players over there.
Well, if they're all on top of each other, touches and interlinking play works. 3 players in a close area is often how you can get through tight areas. But it doesn't work when you're all off form, does it? You know.
Well, not that tight, and not when one of them is Mason Mount.
No, very true. Could not agree more with that. Yeah, the problem is, like, yes, I brought the team up, but like I said, I don't even fully want to talk about the team. We also have someone new joining the stream. We agreed he would just let me know when he's somewhat available. So we're joined by Matt. Appreciate you for coming on, mate. What do you think? What do you have to say? The reason why I'm like, okay, let's bring this on, because I don't really want to talk about the team too much anyway. Oh, by the way, why did someone in the chat say Salah got sent off when it was Nick Pope that got sent off? How'd you get that wrong? But anyway, Matt, first of all, hello, welcome. Thank you for being on. What do you think, man?
Yeah, bro, appreciate having me, Thankfully, it was a good timing today's game, but horrible. Wanted to at least have a win, talking a win. But, I mean, I don't think there's much to say. I mean, I'm not even that angry, people think we expected me to be angry. I'm not angry because I expected a loss. I'm not gonna lie. We expect a basic manager, an average manager who puts an average team, and then makes horrible decisions. Well, what do we expect? We lose against Southampton, and I think Potter needs to go by the morning. I said when we signed Tuchel, Potter's not going to win us anything. I think Potter will probably get us relegated for the worst of us. Like for me, I think he's an absolute horrible manager. I think he's one of the worst managers from this club. I don't think he has that mentality. I don't think he'll even manage my state league team. I just don't think he has that mentality. And you come to the 90th minute when I see the Southampton manager screaming. I see him screaming at the players, defend, lift, right. And I see my manager with his arms crossed and he's, clapping his hands. And I just said, that's the end of it. Like, I can't accept this basic mediocrity at this club. And he needs to go by tomorrow. It's simple. I mean, it's so much that I think he needs to go by tomorrow. I don't know. I can't see any Potter in.
Do you think it will happen? Do you think Bowley will sack him? Whether it's tomorrow morning or flipping Monday, it doesn't matter. But do you think it will happen? Or do you think we'll go into Spurs and still have him in charge, like realistically?
Probably still have him. I mean, I don't know if the Athletic report was, true. I mean, I think that's just some PR shit, Holly Bowley saying, put this out. I think Bowley will definitely get rid of him soon, depending on when. If Bowley's serious, he'll sack him today. But will he do it? I don't think so. I don't think. I think they have too much trust in him. I don't know what they see in him, but I don't think they will. I hope I wake up tomorrow morning and there's a sacking, and people say, who do you get? You get in Hansi Flick tomorrow. You get in Luis Enrique. They will immediately improve the squad. Immediately, even if it's just from this to this.
Did Luis Enrique leave the Spain squad after the World Cup? I don't remember. Is he?
Yeah, he did. He's available.
So at least he's actually available, unlike Hansi Flick.
Yeah, you got a Hansi Flick
and
you got a Luis Enrique.
When I'm not sure how much people have watched Luis Enrique over the years, but if people, how people had complaints and shouting at Potter when we had 0 shots or 1 shot. Have you ever seen Luis Enrique play? So better get ready for no shots on target. You know what I mean, in a game or two, better get ready. I don't want to be hearing anyone asking for Luis Enrique and then complaining for no shots on target.
You can get a Hansi Flick. I would prefer Hansi Flick. I think that guy's a new manager. He's not the most vocal one. He's he's kind of a Carlo Ancelotti where he's very silent, but he gets the job fucking done. At the end of the day, the job gets done.
Oh,
I mean, he won. He was in the World Cup.
Bring back Don Colo. He's out. He's on the outs with Real Madrid. Bring him back.
Didn't he already sign for Brazil in the summer?
Ancelotti?
Yeah. I think Brazil, Ancelotti's become Brazil manager in the summer. That's what I heard.
What?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I could be wrong. I swear, I thought Fabrizio said that. So that's why I went with it. But, it could be wrong, I suppose. I mean, you know what? Let's start talking about it.
Yes, the report was that once he's done with Madrid, he's done with club managing and he's going to a national team.
Wow. Maybe come to the U.S. national team.
I mean,
love
he's
that.
flipping old, so I understand, At some point when you're in your 70s, you probably can't be bothered to travel somewhere every 3 days anymore. But I guess let's have the conversation. And who are somewhat... I've heard a few people talk about Hansi Flick. Now, I will keep Hansi Flick as a non-option to me because no German will leave the German post before Euros in Germany. You don't do that. Especially after they just showed trust in him of not sacking him after this shambles of a World Cup that they had. I cannot see him turning his back on the national team that way.
Fjortov,
yeah.
He already reported that there's zero chance he leaves the German national team. So
I mean,
what if you get an interim manager?
He knows all German stuff.
If you get just a manager that comes in tomorrow, whoever it is, it's better than Potter. And I don't care if it's a transitional, he's an interim. That's fine. Just get someone that's not Potter. Because anyone that walks in tomorrow through that door is better than Potter.
That's okay. That's what I'm going to ask you guys. I mean, you mentioned Luis Enrique. Would he be your first choice of managers available? Matt, I'll start with Matt.
Nah, I wouldn't do. But if he was like, "Hey, I want to come to Chelsea," I would fine. Come, be my transitional manager until we can find another one. And let's make it known to him. Let's say, "Hey, you're a transitional manager." Like they did your interim, because we've given Paul the contract that, "Hey, you're going to be a long-term manager. You're going to be this big guy for 8 years, and if we don't, he's 60 million." No. Let's give just get someone in for a short term until we can find that long-term manager. Because I don't think if anyone in that market is a long-term.
I don't think any top manager will accept that deal.
For what?
Just to be a short-term manager.
Money talks. Money
You're
talks.
You're going to overpay for a 6-month deal?
If it depends. If you give him, let's say, a year. Well, it depends how much money. 15.
You can't give anybody a year, in my opinion. It has to be somebody that you go into the 6 months because we need.
Well, it depends. Will he
them.
even last the year? I just think. I think I just said that. I think you can get anyone in that's better than Potter tomorrow, depending on how long it is. Well, just get someone in.
I guess my point is we can't give another manager a transfer window that we're not willing to stick with more than that.
That's the thing. They're building a team so any manager comes in, they can still work with this team. I think this thing of we got to give this guy a window is kind of falsified because now this window is kind of built off the board.
But then when they don't work, we just complain that they didn't have their transfer window. These aren't their players.
Well, again, we didn't get that excuse to Tuchel. We didn't get that excuse to Tuchel because he's a top class manager. You get a top class manager, they can work with any players. If you give like a beta male, what's his name, Graham Potter, I have to give his own players, this and that. If you get a top manager, the guy will work with any players you give him. But again, it's picking the right one. Maybe we are rushing into a Hansi Flick or a Luis Enrique, but whatever it is, it's still better than what we have. I said Potter will not progress us. And we overpay like crazy for Potter too.
I don't disagree with this anymore necessarily. But I think what I don't think we should be doing now is going into a situation where we go away from the whole plan. Like as much as the Potter part clearly isn't working out at the moment, what I do think is still the right thing to do and the right plan is to have a structure and have a plan and to try and do something a bit more with a bit more longevity. I don't think we should and can go back to what we were doing under Roman for the last 10, 15 years, where we get a manager, we sign him a few players, then he has, short-term success, then we sack them, we get a new manager in, we'll just end up with a mess of a squad again. Or you just sign the players that the board wants, and then you have a manager. I know Matt said if you get a good manager, they will win with any team. Maybe not wrong, but they will still all demand their players. Conte demanded his players when he was here.
And that's good. That's what you want, though. You want that.
When he was here. Every big manager will demand because the bigger the manager, the more demands they will have. So if you don't have a long-term vision, everything just becomes pointless then. So I agree, get someone in instead. In an ideal world, someone that is already the long-term replacement. If that's not possible, get an interim. But then what do you do with that interim? Do you get someone like, a bigger name as an interim? I don't think that's a good idea. Like, give me an example where a big name interim has ever worked. Well, that's not even a thing. Where has a big name ever been an interim anywhere? So it's a difficult one. Aaron, I will go to you. If I asked you who to replace Potter with now, who would you say? Or would you say get I don't know, flipping John Terry in charge until the summer. Like, what you're going to say? What would be your pick? Because, I mean, Golden Overlord says Pochettino. I don't want anywhere near that. Like, honestly, I'd genuinely rather John Terry than Pochettino. Do you know what I mean? And I don't even think John Terry's a good manager at all. But I'd still rather John Terry than Pochettino. But
that's your favorite player you're talking about.
It's true, but player, you know.
Yeah, bro, I can't lie. I couldn't give a rat's ass who else comes in as long as it's not Potter in charge in the next game. I don't give a shit because you can spring.
But you say that now. You do if it doesn't work again, though.
Yeah, but we'll worry about that later, innit? But right now, I just don't want to think about
future me problems.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, it's not today's problem; it's tomorrow's problem. But it's just a case of when you look out there, you look at all the managers that we're talking about. Realistically, with the direction that the club are trying to go in, how many of those do you actually think are gonna be well suited? And it just comes down to that's the main factor. But it's just difficult to say. I honestly couldn't even give you a name. Like, I'm not sure myself.
But Jester, what do you think?
Well, I think they already have a contingency plan in place. They have the person they're going to want to go to next if Potter fails. What they'll do is
reported to be Oliver Glasner from Frankfurt. Not sure if I'd be any more excited about that. I will be honest.
I also heard it was in. They had actually talked to Luis Enrique at one point as well.
Okay.
So,
maybe.
If you're asking me, who do I want? Nobody out there makes me excited. Really don't. What I would say is I would rather go get a manager that I don't know about at this point. Because what we're doing now is just running retreads. All these managers that you're talking about have had a job and not succeeded and left that job. And they're going to bring them another job. So go get a dark horse. I'm fine with it. Bring some new blood, new ideas.
And it just didn't work out?
No, Potter was not a dark horse. Everybody wanted Potter. He was the big name. Everybody.
But the big name from without having had a big club.
Right. If you asked anybody over the summer, Man City,
wasn't that Eddie Howe?
Liverpool. If you sack your manager this year, who do you want? Graham Potter. Everybody to the point. Oh, we want Graham Potter. So he was the hot name, and I understand why they went with him, but he doesn't look like he could lead ants to a picnic.
No, and that's the concerning thing for me. Like when I see the game against Dortmund, you know, some people thought it was worse than I did. I thought, you know, I saw an idea and it didn't work as well in the first half. But I understand. Okay, we realized the way to hurt Dortmund the most was counter-attacking them after they found a little bit of solidity. So that's why, you know, we let it happen that way. Good. We counter-attacked them. We had plenty of chances. Our players didn't take the chances. Shit happened. Okay. But it was a reasonable performance and the Champions League was still in it. All good. But how you go from that to this first half, and I don't think you can just explain this by the players that we left out. I don't think, like, there's way more, like, it's not just changing those few players that caused what we saw today in the first half. That was a disgrace from top to bottom. Like, it literally could, like, comparatively to who we were playing against, the team that was last in the Premier League, this might be one of the worst first halves we've played. Obviously, we conceded a goal late on with a free kick against probably the best free kick taker in the world. Take even away the goal we conceded. The lack of control we had at Stamford Bridge against the team that's bottom of the league, now that's disgraceful. Kovacic was basically letting Enzo Fernandez play in midfield completely on his own. Like, Kovacic was a complete non-existent. Now, he got a bit better as the game went on, but that's why that's why you don't make these players start as soon as they're back fit. That's why you bring them on as a sub first. That's why I'm like, you know, if you would have said, oh, Zakaria, but that same issue would have applied. When you're out for a month or more, you don't just come back in and you're perfect from minute one. It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work like that, no matter who you are. Well, okay, that's maybe wrong. Certain players are certainly exceptions to that. But most players, you aren't just injured, come back and you're perfect. That doesn't work. But people have such a go at Ruben all the time. Are you really telling me that midfield today worked better than Enzo and Ruben? Are you really trying to tell me that? Because it certainly fucking wasn't, was it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we had no
comparing shit. We're comparing shit with garbage.
Howler after howler. Do you know what I mean? Go on. What were you saying?
Trash
no,
me
I'm saying you're
garbage
comparing,
debate.
you know, shit versus garbage. Yeah, trash versus garbage. having cover or Ruben there with next to Enzo. You need someone to play a deeper role to work with Enzo. Cover just again didn't have it. He just looks. I've always said this: when you play Cover or Loftus-Cheek or like Gallagher in that pivot or Mount, they're just too attacking minded that they look lost. You got to play someone who's a structural DM.
Kept Jorginho until the summer. Use
Yeah.
him as a DM.
No,
Sign
no.
someone new in the summer.
I would use it.
No.
Just as someone who plays a position. I mean, again, he's gone. He's gone, isn't it? Doesn't matter. But
He's
again,
gone, yeah.
I would keep
Got
someone
Arsenal
who
3
plays
points, winning
a
the league.
central
That's
role.
fantastic. That is even more fun. But yeah, how would you summarize what happened in the first half today? What do you put this down to mostly, Matt? Just as I said earlier to him, it was mostly down to Mason Mount. Do you think it's because I disagree with Jester, not in a sense that Mount wasn't bad and Mount wasn't a problem, but I think that's just finding an easy way out of why 11 players played badly to blame that on one player. Do you know what I mean? That's not how football works to me.
Yeah.
But what do you put? Because that first half, I'm sure we all agree, was disgraceful.
I was lucky. I was out and I was watching my phone, and I'm like, after James Ward-Prowse scored, I just put it away. I can't watch this football. It was horrible, and I'm going to agree with Jester here. Mount, I've said this for years, and everyone knows. I dislike Mount. I genuinely do, and I think today summed it up. I thought today he would have actually scored a goal at Southampton, 20th place. That's how he rolls. He comes in, and scores against his team, which is what he does. But he didn't, and then Potter decides to play him as a striker, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
I wouldn't just blame it on Mount. Mount is garbage. Yes, he's finished. He's done. He needs to leave. Yes, but there were other factors to it. I thought Chua was a bit all over the place. Even Badiashile was all right, but he was just again a bit clumsy at time. Why did Koulibaly get subbed off? I didn't really dig deep there. Why did he get subbed off?
Yellow card.
He got a
Yellow
yellow
card.
card within
Was it
3
the yellow?
minutes.
Yeah, he got a yellow.
Yeah, I saw the yellow. Why is it? And then Aspie again. I would have started Chalobah. Aspie played. So it was again.
Unless
I feel like
Chalobah is the guy Lee continues, then he shouldn't even be on the bench. If it is him.
yeah, but I would rather him than Aspie. I think Aspie's again another player who's down. And unfortunately, he had that collision, which man, I don't want him to have a long-term injury from that, and maybe any other effects to it. But I think as a team, we were shocking. Yes, there were some even worse individuals, but for me, it just came down to structure and tactics. I don't like Mount, but why was Mount in a striker role? And then why did Dasher Fofana come for half time? So for more, it's always the tactics. I said this last game, Laurenz, where I said people were complaining about the finishing. Potter doesn't teach the players how to finish, but Potter picks the players who can finish the ball. And he dropped our only striker, Bamiyang, who's our only finisher in the team, and kept starting playing Havertz. So for me, it's always been tactics. These players are shit. Yeah, there's some very good ones like Felix,
Although I will then
absolute baller player.
Think back to before the World Cup. Aubameyang did start some games.
He scored 2 UCL
chances then.
Yeah, he was a top UCL goal scorer. He scored, I think, 6 goals for us, and he's played one quarter of Mason Mount and Kai Havertz's minutes. So I would at least give him a shot. He's our only finisher. Yeah. You understand? And we could see what a finisher does. Dasher Fofana was a threat to Southampton. He had 2-3 shots. So again, I'll finalize with this. I don't think it was majority of the players. Yes, there are some garbage players like Mason Mount on the pitch, but again, it comes down to why is someone like Potter putting Mount in that striker role when you already know he can't play on the pitch in his natural position. What makes you think he can play as a striker? So for me, it's always been the tactics. As that's what I said, Laurenz. You get a world-class manager in to coach his world-class players like Felix. You got Mudryk. You got Dago Silva to coach them. That's when we will become a threat. So you need a world-class manager to help us win.
Yeah. I gotta circle back to something here though, because if the Koulibaly yellow card, he got a yellow card for a high foot that hit the dude in the thigh.
After he got the ball, mind you, as well.
Yeah, after he got the ball. And Aspie got kicked in the face. The dude didn't come close to the ball and got a yellow. How are those two things similar?
Like, that's the most blatant red card you will ever see. Would it have changed the result? Not at all. But, come on.
It's a red card all day long.
It's a red card.
That's always a red card because you're endangering the player. And when you're doing something to endanger a player, it's a red card.
Yeah.
Especially to the head.
There you go. Clutch, what would you put the first half down to? Like, is it a case of just multiple reasons, combining together to cause what we saw? or would you put it? Is there a few individual things, not individual players, but individual things that you can pick out which you think were the reasons?
I think it's a combination of things. I think you've seen how reliant we are on Felix to have a really good game. He didn't. He doesn't work with Fofana. They don't know how to play together, and you could tell that there was zero chemistry. Fofana had a couple decent runs, but other than that, not much.
You saw how much we all of a sudden could attack second half.
Yeah, it's crazy what people complain about Havertz, and all of a sudden we play a lot better with Havertz. Just weird how that works, but I digress. Mason Mount as a winger, there's no reason to even talk about it. He's just not that player. I don't care how bad Mudryk has been and still was today. You still play him over Mount if you have a winger. I've said this before. If you have Enzo, you need a big, strong defensive player next to him. We keep not doing that for whatever reason. As much as I think Azpi was decent, and now I remember that he was the reason why we even conceded a goal, it just makes no sense. Makes no sense. In that first half, I think Mudryk had decent runs, but other than that, it was just bad all around. It's just bad all around.
It was. Now, we are still mainly here as much as we are frustrated about Potter, and we spoke at length about this now. Let's try to do a bit of a quick run, but let's still give our ratings for the players today. Kepa, start with him. Does anyone think he could have done better for the free kick? Is there another one people say, if he was taller, then he might have saved it? Is it one of those, or is it, conceded to the best free kick taker in the world, who will become the most successful free kick taker in Premier League history in the next few weeks? And otherwise, didn't even have a save to make. I can't even remember.
Yeah, he did that. He did that.
He made a lot of saves, actually.
True,
yeah, he had that one.
Badia still got burned.
Yeah, but Badia still messed up, and then another one second half. The way we did good. Yeah, it's true.
We kind of came in and cleared it. I think he did well. I think that that free kick. You don't get a free kick for James Ward-Prowse, the best, as you said, the best free kicker in the league. I think maybe he should have done that, but again, he's not taller. Unfortunately, I think he had a decent game. But again, I'm not going to sit and say, clap my hands to him because we didn't win the game. Yeah. So I think it was an alright performance. I'll give him maybe 6.
Okay, Jester, I'll go to you. 6, fair with you? Would you go for something different?
Yeah, I'll go with a 6. I don't blame him for that. I blame Azpilicueta for that.
Yeah.
Look, I knew it was a goal. When he asked me fouled him, I was like, that's a goal.
It just felt like it, right? With how things go for us at the moment, you just knew.
Well, they actually have somebody who can take a set piece and actually not hit the first person on a cross on a corner kick either. But that's neither here nor there. Why not sign him in the summertime? Yeah. Need English players in the squad anyway. Got to have a set piece.
Like Robert Huth back in the day, who we only subbed on for a late free kick. Do you know what I mean? Go. Bring it back.
6 for me. He did his job. I don't blame him for anything. He didn't do anything really spectacular. Maybe go 6.5 with.
Yeah.
He did have a crucial save in the first half with the Badia Shield, giving that up. But 6 is fine with me.
I think he's the only player who walks out with his head high. I think this season he's done very well despite us being horrendous. We've been shocking. I think he's the only player who stood out. And then today again, he had a couple of good saves, and this is definitely a keeper we can be using for the future. I love his leadership. The guy's screaming, always shouting. He's always progressing to the players, and that's what's his captain material.
So you can scream at the forwards more. Do you know what I mean?
If he was a midfielder, I would have given the captain badge. I don't really like to give captains the keeper role because they're just too far away from the players. But if I was to give anyone a captain role, it'll be Kepa. I think his absolute leadership's unbelievable.
Yeah, okay. I don't disagree. See, I would even be tempted to actually say 7 for the 2 good saves that he made, now that I thought of them. But we lost 1-0 to Southampton, and he conceded the free kick. I don't think he can actually do much more, but, I guess it becomes a point where if he speculates and goes for the corner as before the ball's hit, he can get there. But then what if Ward-Prowse goes in the other corner, in the goalie's corner, and then he looks like a right clown? So that's why he can't and didn't. But yeah, a 6.5 from Jester, a 6 from Matt, a 7 for myself. Aaron, what are you going to give Kepa?
I'll go with the 7 as well, just because when you're playing Southampton and they get a free kick anywhere within 35 yards of the goal, it's really a big chance that it goes in. So I don't blame him all that much for it. Part of me thinks he might have been able to get across a little bit better, but it's one of those where he's the best free kick taker out there right now as well. So I'm not really going to say too much about that. But he made a couple of saves as well, especially early on. The first 3 minutes when Badiashile made a mistake is you're not really as involved in the game, so you've got to be switched on, and just that early in the game to be able to switch on and make that save was quite important. But yeah, I'll probably just go with a 7. Nothing extravagant, but he did all right.
There you go, Clutch. What would you give him?
Probably a 6. Probably, to be fair. I don't think there's anything he could have done about the goal. I mean, a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, he could have got that. Oh, no. Like, maybe the best keeper in the world, sure, but we don't got that, so.
No, we don't. All right, let's move on. Badiashile, first time he didn't have a great game at Chelsea, which is a bit unfortunate. He had two mistakes. He was still decent otherwise. So, I don't know. I'll give him like a 5.5. Would people go along with that? Jess, I'll start with you.
Average 6. I thought he was average today.
I could give him a 6 as well. You're not wrong. Clutch, 6, 5.5. Anything different?
5.5, I think. I don't think he was up to the standards he's been setting for us. I think he needs that leader next to him, which is Thiago Silva, but he's out.
There you go. Aaron, 5.5. 2 of those so far. What would you give him?
Yeah, I'd go 5.5 just because he set himself such a high standard in the way that he's performing recently, and to come into this game, he looked a little bit shaky at times. I just think he needs that leader next to him. So hopefully, when Silva's back in the squad with him, then he'll be back to his old form. But yeah, 5.5.
Fair enough. Matt, round it out. 5.5. Would you agree? Would you go for something different?
Yeah, I think I'd give it a 5.5, and I think it's a bit. I think what Aaron said. I think to the point where you need a leader next to him. And I think that's always been a concern for me, that a player needs someone. In a sense, to hold their hand, so I'm hoping he can kind of overcome, and he's very young, so I'm not going to come at him harsh today. I think, it was a few mistakes, but I will give him 5.5.
But Koulibaly then. Koulibaly was a weird one, because obviously I got triggered already when he got himself booked after 3 minutes ago, and I was like, you stupid idiot. I know it was unlucky because he got the ball, and then people always say like, the follow through, and I know, Aaron, you put it in the chat. Are you guys so sure that he goes for the ball and then he stretched his leg? Are you sure they're as in control of how their foot goes down to the ground again, as we sometimes think? I feel like he clearly didn't mean that. It just, oh shit, I hit the guy in the leg. Does it have to be a yellow card? I think no, it was. Who cares? I actually thought he was okay for the rest of the first half. Found it somewhat strange that I know the yellow card, okay, but for that reason, you could have subbed him off for the whole first half. Why then half time? But Wesley Fofana was one of the very few positives, I thought, today in the second half. So, I'll give Koulibaly. I don't think, other than the yellow card, he did anything wrong. Didn't make any mistakes that I can think of. So I'll give him a 6. I'll just reverse the order, Matt. I know it's maybe a bit harsh on Badiashile to give Koulibaly a higher rating, but other than the yellow card, which effectively didn't change anything, I don't think he did anything wrong. So I can't really give him anything below a 6 in my head.
I don't think he made any big mistakes, but he didn't make any big counters or any big attributes. I think I'll give him a basic 5.5 too. I think I'll match up with Badiashile. The yellow, it's a tricky one, because then, as just it says, the other guy just got a yellow for kind of pretty much knocking him out fully. So
murder us, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that was a high for fully. Koulibaly kind of went down. It's like a kind of 50-50-ish challenge, but refs have not been on our side this whole year, and it's shown. So I'll probably give him a 5.5.
Okay, Faz. Aaron, what do you think? 5.5, 6 for Koulibaly. What do you reckon?
I'll go average 6. The yellow card was stupid. I do think I don't know what it is about him, but when he does the same things that other people do, he just looks a bit more rash with it, a little bit more clumsy. But
he looks like early days really good sometimes. I think.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get. But other than the initial incident inside the first 3 minutes, I think he was all right. But he's slightly better than Badiashile.
All right, Faz, Clutch.
I'd give him a 6. He did have the clearance off the line. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, I back my 6 even more now.
I'm with you 6. So.
All right. Thank you, Jester. Appreciate it. Very good. I almost want to put just a
Headache.
We have like
Can we get a Band-Aid emoji? Is that
yeah, like hospital. Like we put hospital emoji next to Aspie's name. Why is he not doing it? Come on now, give me the hospital emoji.
It would never do it for me. Oh, it likes you better than me.
there you go. Yeah, we'll give Aspie hospital emoji. But you know, I'll go with you, Jester. What did you make of his performance until he was nearly murdered? He obviously gave away the free kick, which essentially lost us the game. Outside of that, do I think he was the worst player in the world? No. But was he good? Also, no.
Again, bang average. He just look. He didn't do anything wrong besides the one foul, but that happens in the game to anybody. He wasn't terrible. Pardon me. He wasn't terrible going forward, and he wasn't really terrible in defense. I give him an average 6. You know, he made a foul that anybody else on any other day would have made, and it just so happens that's life, I guess. I don't know.
That is life, I guess.
Careful
Aaron,
with the
we will keep
phrases.
the hospital emoji up there because might as well. But what did you make of Aspie? I guess outside of the foul, but also including the foul. Do you think it was? Is it just a case of he tried to get the ball, he didn't, and then it just unfortunately, we are playing against Prowse, and that's why it led to what it led to. Or do you think you just can't commit that type of tackle if you know you're playing against Prowse?
Personally, I think it was a very stupid foul. I think it was very avoidable. I don't think he had to go in there for that challenge, and he's gone in and in a dangerous position when you're playing against a team that has a free kick taker like James Ward-Prowse, and you make a challenge like that. It's kind of like you should know better. He wasn't that bad going forward, wasn't that bad in the defense, but just for the whole thing of giving away the free kick, I'm going to give him a 5.
No, exactly. Fair enough. I would love to hear an update, by the way, on what's happening to him. I mean, you could see him clapping as they were stretching him off. So he was, clearly conscious at least, which is a positive. But yeah, before I go to the other guys, Cedric, appreciate the super chat. He says, thanks, guys. But for any media/fans worried about Potter being locked in 5 years, 60 million payout, it's not your money or mine. Sack him today, please. I also think we shouldn't jump to conclusions a little bit too soon. Like we don't have idiots in charge. We don't know what kind of clauses there may or may not be in contracts that would allow us to pay less than the full payout. I'm not saying that definitely is the case, but there might be that something like that in place. So I don't think we're going to say, we will need to pay him out 60 mil or whatever it is. I don't think it's quite that simple. I think it becomes a problem when we think about considering how much staff we brought from Brighton with Potter. And if we sack Potter, do we get rid of all that staff as well, or does do a lot of those staff stay? That's where it becomes interesting and difficult. But yeah, Matt, I'll get to you. Aspie, much to say, much to add, other than silly foul. Otherwise, not really much to add.
Sorry, Laurenz. Just before you get to that, you were asking for an update. I think Potter said in his post-match that Aspie's in the hospital with his wife, and there was a point on the pitch where he was unconscious, but he's conscious now in the hospital.
Oh, well, get well soon, Aspie. Get well soon. No, he was clearly... I'm not sure if you guys watch boxing and MMA, but, he literally went to ground like he was knocked out cold, you could see his whole...
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, it went all stiff. So, all we can say is get well soon. But yeah, sorry, Matt, much to add on Aspie's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the oldest player in our team making the most silliest mistake, it's embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the team. You should not be doing that. You go before you walk out the pitch, you tell your team, and as a captain, I forget he's a captain after time. To me, he's not a captain. But when you walk out that pitch, you say, we're going against the best Premier League free kick taker. Let's not foul outside the box. And him as a captain would go and do that same mistake. I think I'll give him a 4. And that cost us the game. Such a basic mistake that he made. But if he was 21, I would accept it. But he's 30. He's got experience. I don't know why he's doing that. Don't know why.
Yeah. I can't even argue it. Clutch, anything else?
No, it's pretty much all the same. I thought he was decent until then, and then it was just decent. That's it. Just average.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? All right, we get to the other side. Ben Chilwell. Certainly didn't look as good as he did on Wednesday. Probably because he picked up a knock on Wednesday, and I don't understand why he had to play. Like, you leave James out the squad. You leave Thiago Silva out the squad. Okay, those two I can maybe even accept. Ziyech and Cucurella. Why were those two left out of the squad? When Chilwell was literally carrying a knock, you literally confirmed in a press conference yesterday that there's going to be a late decision whether he's going to be involved or not. But you leave Cucurella out of the squad and you start Chilwell. What? Why? I do not understand. He wasn't amazing, but he wasn't the problem. I just give it an average 6 again. I mean, I might be forgetting things, and maybe I'm wrong with this, but that's what I go with to start it off with. Clutch, 6 for Chilwell. Is there anything you remember him doing either particularly badly or well?
The only thing that I can remember him doing is he got a couple smart fouls, but he had a pretty...
To be honest, he should have gotten Armstrong sent off because Armstrong committed about 6 yellow card fouls on Chilwell, and he only got booked once. But, that's not Chilwell's fault, that.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. 6, it's fine by me.
Fair enough. Jester, would you agree on the 6 or anything you remember that I didn't?
Well, I thought with the lack of having a left wing in the first half, thought he was pretty good based on that. So I'd go 6.5 for him.
Okay.
Because out of him, we don't have anything on the left-hand side.
No, that's very true. You're not wrong. Aaron, 6.5?
Yeah, it was just an average 6.
Okay. Would you agree as well, Matt?
Yeah, I think it was decent. But I just will say as well, why was Cucurella out on the pitch as an injury and knock? Because he was on the bench. Like I saw him, on the sideline with his jacket on and everything. So I don't know why he didn't start again. It just comes down to if you're still trusting
you
his
have to
spotting,
start Lewis Hall, then, you know what I mean? But
I mean, Chilwell, I'd probably give him a 5. I won't be honest, I didn't really see him in the game that much, so I don't know what he did and what he didn't. So I'll probably give him just a basic 6.
So, all right, let's quickly do Wesley Fofana. So we're done with the centre-backs. Chalobah didn't really play enough to get a rating again, NA later on anyway. But Wesley Fofana, one positive of today. There wasn't really a lot of positives. But Wesley Fofana, to me, was a positive. Considering how long he's been out for, he looked very surprisingly sharp, surprisingly ready, surprisingly quick. Obviously, when Chalobah then came on, it wasn't actually Chalobah at right back. It was Fofana then at right back at the end, I guess just for more pace. But that was a positive. As the second half goes, we didn't really concede any big chances. If anything, he cleaned up quite a few times. So I'll actually, for that second half, I'll give him a 7. I think maybe I could even go higher considering it was a comeback. But, again, we lost. So I don't want to go high anywhere. Aaron, was Wesley Fofana a positive surprise to you at all?
Yeah, I think it's good to see him come back from his injury, and he doesn't look any worse off than he did before he got injured. He's come back, and that was a good cameo from him. I think it's positive signs. So I was quite happy with his performance. I'll probably go like a, I don't know, probably a 7 or something. I think it was the only really bright spark of the whole team.
Yeah, there you go. Matt, you said you watched the first half on your phone. I'm not sure what and how much of it of the second half you managed to catch, but were you happy with Wesley Fofana?
I watched the whole second half. I just missed a bit of the first. I watched the whole second half, unfortunately. But Fofana came on, and I think he was all right. I think he made a couple of good slide tackles. He was progressing the ball forward. I think he was a threat. I think I saw Reece James kind of style progressing the ball up as a centre back. So I think great game for him. I think he goes up with his head high personally because he's been out for ages. I'll probably give him a 7 as well. Again, no win, but he didn't concede when he came on. So good for him.
Jester, would you agree with that? Whether it's the rating itself or the assessment overall?
Yeah, that's fine for Fofana. I don't know if you saw my message.
Oh, I did not. My bad. I will take a look at it now. There you go. Oh, okay. No problem at all. Jester, appreciate you popping in. I did message you long before this. Hey, have a good rest of your day and, good luck sorting all your shit out.
Yeah, Jester.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Y'all have a good one.
Take care.
Take care, mate. Whoever not asked, Clutch, I think. Fofana, happy with that cameo at least?
Yeah, I'd give him a 6.5. I thought he was better than average. It was I don't think he was the only bright spark, but I think he was one of the bright sparks. But
okay, I'm intrigued to find out who the other bright spark was. We'll find out later. Oh, to be fair, maybe there was one. Oh yeah, I should mention this. Mark Moxon, thank you. Rest in peace to Christian Attu. Obviously, condolences to his family, loved ones, friends, whatever. Obviously, his body was unfortunately found in the ruins of the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. So yeah, obviously, terrible news. But we have to move on, unfortunately. As much as these kind of transitions are always awkward, we have to do what we have to do. Enzo Fernandez, love him, but that weren't good today. I know Kovacic left him alone a lot, but that still weren't good. The amount of time he had no idea who and what's behind him and took way too long to release the ball, I understand. Movement in front of you and, Southampton marking players stops, the easy, quick pass sometimes, but you need to release the ball quicker a few times. I would give him a 5. And that's, I think a 5 is about right. Clutch, what do you make of Enzo? Do you agree with my sentiment that he wasn't great today, or do you think I'm being harsh because he was left alone a little bit?
He was left alone, but at the same time, I was told he'd be fine with Kovacic, and I did make my point very clear in the group chat that him and Kovacic would not work together, but that was a different story, different time. There was a couple times he lost the ball in some very not good spots and led to a counter, so I would agree with the 5.
All right. Matt, 5 for Enzo. What have you made of Enzo?
You spend 120 million on a player and you don't suit the team around him. I know we've had problems. I know we've had injuries. But starting Kovacic isn't going to work. I think just play like Kovacic is probably done. Like these attacking players at Kova, Mount, Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, these attacking centre mids are probably finished because to play Enzo, you need to have a deeper player with him. People say he's not worth 120 million. He's worth 120 million because when he was at Benfica, he played with someone who was much deeper. So it allows Enzo to press. When you're Kovacic, Enzo has to sit. He's not a sitter, right? And when you play 2 attacking-minded players, no one wants to have the job to sit back. And we've seen Kovacic for 2 years do the same thing when he never sit back in a double pivot. He always wants to progress.
That's why he had Jorginho next to him, did it? We all know Jorginho had.
That's why it worked.
But at least he sat and controlled the play from deep, and that's all you needed to do. For the rest of the season, we didn't get a new DM. We weren't going to get a Rice or a Caicedo or whoever else you want at DM. We weren't going to get that in January alongside Enzo. So all you needed to do was keep Jorginho, play that Enzo and Jorginho until the end of the season, and do the best with what you have. Because people talk about Zakaria, people keep forgetting that Zakaria hasn't played as an actual DM in 4 years since at his time at Borussia. It's in his early days at Borussia Mönchengladbach. He didn't play as a DM at Juve. He has never played as a DM for us. Every time he played, he was the more offensive of our midfielders. So people just think this, and I'm like, yeah, he needs to play with Zakaria. Zakaria probably can do this, but so far we haven't seen it happen. So people just say this is what works. We haven't seen it yet. Like we haven't even seen us try Zakaria deep. We haven't even done that yet. So
he hasn't been fit. Yeah, but the thing of it, and that's what I'm saying. You start a Zakaria, you start a Kante, you start a Andre Santos. Oh, I can't wait for him to come in. You just start someone who sits. Jorginho and Kovacic worked out because one will sit, one will press. It's structured. Here it's like sit, press. Like it's just all over the place. And I've played this role before. I've played where I'll have to be the sitter and someone progresses. But when you have 2 attacking-minded players on the same pitch, they don't have the defensive-minded players. I don't know if you've played football, guys, but when you're an attacker never has that defensive mindset that, oh shit, I got to defend. They're always on an attacking mindset, and these are 2 attacking players. So you get me Jorginho there if he was there, would have been a different story. But as Enzo performance, I'll about 5.5. I think it was okay as its own, but just nothing special.
Okay, Aaron, what about you?
Yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming in comparison to the performances he's put in previously. But yeah, it's difficult because the team obviously doesn't suit him. It's like being that one that just has to sit and sort of dictate from there, when normally at Benfica was playing like a double pivot as like a left-sided holding midfielder. It's a little bit different here. I think it's just going to be one of those where he's going to have to try and adapt a little bit until the end of the season and then tackle that issue in the summer to really benefit his game. But in terms of today, I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was anything to really get excited about. So I'll just go average 5.
I also think you take away a lot of Enzo's strength when you don't have somebody who's going to run in behind and make those runs. So, but we have Mount on the wing.
That's not just our team not doing it. That's also playing the team that's 20th at Stamford Bridge, which is a small pitch. You're never going to have a lot of people running behind. It's never going to happen. And if people thought we were going to play through ball after through ball, it's never going to happen. no matter who we play, in my opinion. But hey, let's move on to Kovacic. I'll keep it short and simple. I'll give him a 4. I was disappointed, but he's come back from injury, so I'm not going to go like 2 or 3. I'm going to give him a 4, but he was very poor. We did one dribble in the 66th minute, and the commentator I was watching was picking it up, and I was like, yeah. Took him 66 minutes to remember that he can actually do that. Would have been quite useful if he did it fucking earlier, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? In the first half, he literally ghosted. Didn't make himself available for passes ever. Didn't help defensively ever. Didn't do anything useful at all. He had one good switch play to Mudryk. Okay, you played one good pass and had one good dribble. That's it. That's poor. It's just poor. Considering how he was able to play every single game for Croatia and now he's basically never available. Nah, not happy. I'm not happy. Clutch, what would you say?
A 3.
Fair.
I'm going to give him a 3. But I will. He had more than one good over the top ball. He had a couple of good over the top.
Okay, maybe he had 2.
But that's about it. Other than that, not much else to say about Kova. I'm sorry, Pius, if you're watching on your way home. Not good from him today.
Yeah, I wonder if Pius will disagree. That would be interesting to find out. Aaron, 3 and 4 so far for Kovacic. What would you give him, mate?
I'll just go in the middle of that 3 and 4. I'll go with a 3.5. I know he's just come back from injury, so it is going to take him a bit of time just to sort of dust off the cobwebs and really build up that bit of match fitness again and get into the game. So I'm not going to go on him too much, but I'll go 3.5.
Okay, Matt, what do you think? Do you even agree? I mean, someone in the chat disagreed and was sending all sorts of stats with how great Kovacic was. And this is all well and good. Yes, 3 out of 4 take-ons. Amazing. Why didn't he have more than 4? That's the question. Final third passes. Well, yeah, second half after he completely destroyed the first half by doing nothing and letting Enzo do everything on his own. The second half, we weren't that bad in the second half. In the second half, the problem was that we are completely incapable of scoring and that Southampton did so much time wasting that, I mean, obviously there was 12 minutes of injury time with the Azpi thing anyway, but I still don't think there was more than 30 minutes of football played in the second half. It genuinely wasn't. Every goal kick took them an hour. That's what it felt like anyway. But Matt, on Kovacic, what do you think?
I think I've said for a couple of weeks now. I think Kovacic has probably done this club. Just availability is the best availability. He doesn't have it, and we don't really play a system that suits him these days. I will keep him possibly maybe for a bit, but I would start to phase him out. I just think today just showed like this guy's all over the place, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets injured next week. Like he just has no availability these days. So you come to August when maybe Santos comes in and you get a Casado and he's still having these problems where he'll be injured week in, week out. Just phase him out. Because it's a good one.
I remember saying this in the group chat a couple weeks ago when we bought Enzo. And Pius was like, imagine him and Enzo together. And I'm like, Enzo kicks Kovacic out of the squad. That's what Enzo does. Because you need somebody to sit next to
Enzo. He hasn't so far. He should, but he hasn't.
He will, because you're going to have 2 midfield spots. Felix is going to take up one of them because he only plays as a 10. I don't care. That's what he should be playing as. And then you have Enzo, which means you're going to need another defensive-minded player next to him. Kovacic isn't that. Who is? We don't have that. So, which is why I was begging for us to find somebody to do that. But we'll see in the summer. That's the position that we're going to need to look most into. But again, I feel bad for Kovacic. There's a great player, but it is what it is.
Fair enough. We move up the pitch and let's get to Joao Felix. I can't even say anything good about him today. The best thing he did was when he shot after Azpi was offside. And even that shot would have gone wide. But otherwise, I can't. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting something, and then maybe there was a thing or two that he did well. But in general, first half, he just ghosted. But ghosted, I'm sure he tried. You saw him move, but he just didn't get on the ball. And when he did, we didn't do anything useful with it. As much as we criticize our own team and our own manager, you don't lose a game to a wall of nothing. You lose a game to an opponent. And Southampton's press was very impressive today, I thought. They just made it very, very difficult for us to get out of anywhere. Now, obviously, we could help ourselves and do better. And we didn't, but still they did well. But yeah, Felix, the corners were poor. He had that free kick late on, sure, okay, but it wasn't good enough really to threaten the goalkeeper either. I think I'd say 4.5. Is that harsh? What do you think, Matt? Is that harsh?
I wouldn't say it's extremely harsh because I want to say if you gave him a 1, I wouldn't I wouldn't even complain
Yeah.
because it's a loss, you know. And he didn't turn up as much as he did the previous. I forgot who played the previous the Dortmund game. So he didn't turn up as much. I would give him probably, if you're comparing the other ratings, probably give him about a 5. I don't know. I want to say he didn't get involved as much, and I want to check his heat map. I swear I always just saw him on that left. I don't know why. Actually, I wanted to try find it again. No, 'cause I swear I always saw him on that left, and
He
I
was
don't know
more
if it
on
was.
the left than anything.
I don't know. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
He
if it was
drifted
Potter
everywhere.
kind of. That's why I don't know if it was Potter kind of
Is the
saying.
average positions. We had it up, I think, maybe before you joined the stream, and he was certainly slightly off the left a little bit. Let me just get it up here again. I mean, actually, it was very central, but it was also because at the end of the first
Wait,
half,
why is
Fofana
Mount
moved
there?
over to left wing, and basically Felix played as the striker, and Mount was the central 10. But then obviously we took Fofana off second half, and he was going to stage it again. But yeah, sorry, continue.
I thought I saw him keep going drifting to the left. But I just don't think he was there. Just don't think he was just turned up as much as he did the previous games. I don't think he was an important play for us today, like he was last game. So I will probably give him a 5.
All right, Aaron, 4.5 and 5 for Felix so far. What would you think, and what would you give him?
Again, I think it's just the same thing with Enzo, where it's just so underwhelming to the performances that we've seen before. I kind of understand that the sort of link up that he has with Havertz when he's playing behind him is a lot better. And today, where Fofana was drifting to the left and Felix was sort of going down the middle as the more advanced player, as like a false 9 sort of striker, he didn't have anyone in front of him, so he's basically leading the line. But we all know that Felix plays best when he's in behind somebody, so it wasn't really suited to how Felix likes to play. But again, I still think that besides that, I didn't really see much from him at all. I do think it was poor, so I'll probably go with a 4.
All right, and Clutch, finish it off.
I would give him a 4. One of his biggest strengths that he has been showing us, especially in the Dortmund game, was the ability to come back, pick up the ball, and drive forward and pick out the proper pass. Today, he just kept getting the ball taken from him every time he even tried to do it. And there was no real outlet for him. Him and Fofana don't work. So if you want Felix in the squad, which you do, you got to play Havertz.
To say they will never work is maybe a bit early, considering they've played 45 minutes together now, but it certainly didn't work today.
Fair enough. But we're not in the position of testing things.
No, very true. Very true. My God. I was already preparing because we're next going to talk about Mason Mount, and I just opened it up to see a few stats. And I will read it out to you guys, and you will all be very happy, I'm sure. He had a pass completion rate of 55%, and it not only is 55% awful, it's also 6 out of 11 he completed. Ground duels, where is it? Ground duels, 0 out of 6. Aerial duels, 1 out of 2. I'm not sure when that one happened, but
when
sure.
he won the header that he shot off sides or shot out. He
Did
got a header.
Touch that?
Yeah, he got that.
But that's not a duel, though, is it? Because he was on his own, wasn't he?
Somebody else was getting up.
Maybe we're not talking about the same header. Then doesn't matter. Successful dribbles, 0 out of 2. Accurate crosses, 0 out of 1. You were playing left wing. Why did you only play 1 cross? Tackles, 0 attempted. I mean, the amount of zeros in the stats list, well, it's, very...
22 touches for 64 minutes is kind of insane.
How many touches? 22 touches, yeah. 64 minutes. That's even worse than Mudryk against West Ham when Cucurella never gave him the ball. Yeah, I mean, it's very rarely have we had a more clear 0-4 play, in my opinion, that didn't cost us a goal necessarily. I also... Do I want to blame him for not scoring that Sterling cross? Maybe he was a tad short, I guess. I'm going to blame Potter for it to come up with the idea of playing Mount there and not just bringing on Havertz straight away if you take Fofana off. Like, I don't understand this at all. But yeah, Mount was absolutely awful. And was I surprised by this? No. Mount at the moment with his form isn't going to be good even in his best position. So he's most certainly not going to be good out of position. How is he? And today he played left wing and striker. Well, that isn't going to fucking work, is it? But yeah, 0. And there's really not much to add, is that, Clutch?
No, there's really not. It's just, I don't know why it's 3 managers later and we're still trying to figure out why Mount is on the wing. Like, We knew under Lampard it wasn't going to work, but yeah, here we are, still trying it. But hey, yeah, it's a
There
0.
you go. There you go. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah. It's I don't want to say too much because the man gets enough stick as it is, and I don't really want to pile onto that. So I think we'll just leave the number that's currently on screen and move it along.
There you go. And Matt, anything you would like to add that we haven't said already?
Yeah, I'll give him all the stick because he's a garbage player. Yeah, he give him a 0. I don't know what he thinks he's doing. He's not a footballer. Today summed it up again. Every game he's getting worse, and we're still trying to give excuses. He doesn't. Oh, he's an 8, this and that. He's genuine, and then we give him a banner before the game. It's embarrassing, man. Just everything about this player is just embarrassing to me. He's not Chelsea level. We need to sell him ASAP. Liverpool, come and get him, please. Because today, despite everyone being bad, he was still even worse. He was on his own level. I don't know what planet he's on. Because the way he just plays football is all over the place. He just runs. He's just like him and Galio, they just run. And you said the stats right there. No tackles. At half time, he had 0 out of 6 ground duels that he lost.
And it stayed at that until the 64th minute, meaning he didn't even get in another ground duel for the second half.
And every time I saw him, either the touch was too hard, the pass was too far, the pass was too soft. Like it's just he's lost. It's either I don't think he's ever had the confidence. I don't think he's ever been at that top level. I think he's been an average player for me. And we need exceptional. We need greats. We don't need goods. So I will give him a 0 today, and I hope he can leave. And I don't know why Potter continues to start him. That's another reason. I would rather start a Chukwuemeka. I would rather start a 15-year-old. I'd rather start on the pitch over Mount because he just doesn't bring anything new. We've seen it all from him. What difference can he make? What can he do? He hasn't scored in the last 33 games. He's had 3 goals, 3 assists. Bournemouth, AC Milan. I can count him now. That's how embarrassing it is. He needs to go instantly.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with you on selling him to Liverpool. I just look at what Jorginho did today. You don't sell players to rivals, regardless of how bad we.
He can win the Ballon d'Or at Liverpool. I wouldn't care. He would never have it at
Trust
Chelsea.
me, you would. You definitely would if you did. We would if you would. Let's get to Mudryk on the other side. I'm just open up some stats there because I wasn't particularly impressed either. But compared to Mason Mount, I mean, he looked like an absolute superstar. He had a whole 82% pass conversion rate, which is not bad for a winger. Shot accuracy was 1 out of 1, even though I think in that moment he arguably should have tried to square it instead of shooting, but hey, at least he got on target. Successful dribbles, 2 out of 4, not amazing, but still better than most others. Ground duels, 6 out of 10. But that's arguably what I like most of it. He looks quite strong, and he got stabbed in the eye by a finger. To do what he did after that, he's not bad, but I do find him extremely one-dimensional. He always does the same thing. He has one move, and he does the same move every time. But again, he's 20, new to the Premier League. He's played in the Eredivisie so far, so there's certainly some adaptation time that we will need to give him. And I assume once Sterling is fit enough, we will probably see Mudryk and Sterling start regularly, and Mudryk could be the sub. But he wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. I'm not sure if I want to give him average because, to be honest, I don't think he warrants it. I'd say 5.5. I'm also thinking 5, but I do think he was more than 0.5 better than Felix, hence why I'll say 5.5. But obviously, you guys might sway it. Matt, what did you make of Mudryk? What would you rate him?
Again, I'll kind of sound like a bad issue. I think he's just a very young player. It's good if he starts these type of games. I think one good thing by Potter is starting Mudryk. And rating, I think he said he has the same skill, the step over kind of thing. But I like him. I like his style play. I like his flow. I like his dribbling. I like his pace. I think he'll get over time. I'm just hoping that injury problem doesn't play up. So I'll probably give him a 5.5. Yeah.
All right. Clutch, would you agree on a 5.5? What would you say about Mudryk?
Yeah, I'd agree with the 5.5. I don't think he was terrible as some other players we had out there today. At least he took on players at different points, so I thought he was decent enough, but I wouldn't give him average.
There you go. And Aaron, would you agree as well or not?
No, I would actually give him the average 6. The boy excites me. Like the thing is, we've lacked someone who's just direct for such a long time now, and the fact that when he picks up the ball, he's always looking to take someone on and go past him is something that we've missed and lacked for a long time, and it is really exciting to see him do it, especially being that left-footed cutting off the right-hand side. So I don't think it was his greatest game, but you can see that when he picks up the ball, he has the right mindset and intent to push forward and try and create something and be dangerous. And even when he loses the ball, he tries to come back and win it back. So I'd give him a 6. I thought he was okay. I don't think it was great, but I do think he warrants the 6.
Fair enough. I mean, we'll keep it as a 5.5, obviously. But fair dues. David Dutcher Fofana then. First start for Chelsea. Looked okay. Had his moments, like that. He had this one dribble where he attempted. He had that one shot, even though, I mean, he hit the post behind the goal, which kind of means you missed by like 4 or 5 yards. So it's like it always looks closer than it is when you hit that post because you're quite far away from actually getting it in the net. And you could also quite clearly see how drastically our attack improved second half. Now, was that necessarily because he came off? I don't think so. But yeah, I said this yesterday. People complain about Havertz. Play anybody else, you will see it doesn't work any better, probably worse. No, we're not. I mean, Potter hopefully will get sacked, but until Potter gets sacked, we're not going to see Aubameyang. I think people need to scrape that idea out of their minds because every time we talk about a lineup before a game, people are like Aubameyang. It's not going to happen. Like it's just not going to happen. But yeah, because it was his first start, he had like 1 or 2 really loose touches, but in general, I still think he actually did okay. I'm even tempted to actually give him a like 6.5. Is that too nice? Maybe I should stay 6, but I don't actually think he was bad, Aaron, what did you make of him?
Yeah, I also don't think he was bad at all either. I do think he's very unpolished. You can see that he's got that sloppy touch in him where he'll miss. The ball will come to him and he'll try and take a touch and it will go like a good 3-4 yards in front of him instead of being like at his feet. So I do think he's got a lot of his game to work on yet. And the fact that he is young, it means that he's got plenty of time to sort of get the experience that he needs in order to perfect the skill. That's going to come with game time, and it's good to see that he is starting to get it because I do think there is a player in there who could do really well. So I'd go with the 6. I think he was a bit of a bright spark in the first half when we didn't really have much to be excited about or to enjoy. I think he was there was that one dribble where I just thought he was quite direct and I quite liked it. I didn't really know he had that in his game where he would just push forward and be going through defenders, and he's got quite a bit of pace on him actually, which I was quite surprised about.
Yeah, fair enough. Clutch, would you go 6, 6.5? What would you do?
Or 6. I thought he was just average. I thought he had decent moments, but then he had bad moments. So
there you go. And Matt, obviously you didn't manage to see everything of the first half, but of what you did catch of him, what did you make of David Dutcher Fofana?
I thought it was a threat. I thought he was kind of a threat. What I saw him, I think he had a couple good shots. I think a couple hit the back of the net, but I thought he was a bit more of a threat. I mean, coming from seeing Havertz as striker to then Dutcher Fofana is a big jump. And obviously a lot of people tell me on Twitter, like, he was just unbelievable game. And I'm like, oh, unbelievable is a different word. I would say I think he had a good game. I would probably give him a 6, 6.5. I would give him quite a high rating because I thought he was a threat. I think it's better than having Kai Havertz up front.
So Kai
and
Havertz,
that's what happens when you put a finisher.
He had in the game today, so.
Chances, not finishing.
No, absolutely.
So I think it's finishing. I would say Dutcher Fofana is more of a threat for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have this need to want to have a striker to finish, but a striker that finishes isn't really that important if you have people around him that finish. And Kai created the chances.
Kai can't finish though.
I don't care.
No, but that's what he said.
But he created a
Liverpool striker doesn't score either. It's Salah.
Yeah, but I just see someone. You can create and score, but he can't score though. At least Dutcher Fofana can put the ball back.
Top goal scorer.
6 goals.
Because he plays the most, obviously. But that's also because he's the only one that's always fit. But that's its own separate conversation. My guys, who came on first? Sterling and
Fofana.
Sterling and Fofana. So let's do Sterling. I've been very critical of Sterling at times this season, but it was okay today. It was good today. I'm really struggling how harsh I should be with that chance, because obviously the defender, I forget his name, the guy that poked Mudryk's eye out, cleared it off the line, and it was a good defensive movement to clear it off the line. But could he have not headed it anywhere but in the middle of the goal? And then the attempt after, did you really have to try swing your head over yourself rather than laying it off to someone? I don't know. But he was still by far our biggest threat on the day overall. I can't even remember. Was it Sterling's effort as well when Kai squared it to him? Was it Sterling's effort that got blocked that he didn't manage to get on target? Because it was blocked, so that was Sterling as well. So on the one hand, I'm like, it's great that you were there and you were the guy that, should have scored, but it's almost like Joao Felix at Dortmund, where you're like, you were the best attacker, but the two big moments you had where you could really decide whether we win a game or don't, you flopped. So it's a difficult one. But yeah, compared to him, coming back from injury, being out for a while, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Aaron, I'll throw you under the bus. I'll make you go first, because I want to give him like a 7, but he missed 2 big chances here.
I think it's difficult to really give him too much stick when he was such a bright spark, but again, he did have the best chances of the game, and you would expect someone of his quality on a normal day to be able to put that in the back of the net. So it is difficult, but I would still go with a 7. I think when you look at sort of what he brought to the game, how it changed when he came on the pitch, he gave that spark that we needed, and he actually made us look more dangerous. We looked a lot more like getting a goal when he was on the pitch. So for that reason purely, I would give him the 7. But I know obviously there is the thing of he should have scored his chances and whatnot. But I'm clutching at straws here. I'm really trying.
Yeah, fair dues. 7 from your end. Then Matt, what do you think? What would you make of a player that plays well but misses the 2 biggest chances we have in a game?
If you didn't tell me who it was, I would have said probably Felix, because he did that last week against Dortmund.
Yeah.
And something I'll probably give him 6.5. I think he came on long injury, but didn't get the goal. Good clearance by don't know who it was, Southampton defender there, but should have buried the chances. But it's all right. Give him 6.5. So give him charity points there at 6.5. At least he tried.
Hey,
that's how mine these days.
And compared to his last sub appearance, was it Fulham at home, where he was useless? It was a step up from that for sure. So that's something. Clutch 6.5s. What have been given so far? What were you going to give him?
Earlier, I said there was another bright spot, and I think for me, I have to ask myself, how harsh was I against Felix in midweek? Because I thought Felix was our best player. What would I have rated him? I would have probably rated Felix a 7 midweek, despite missing those 2 chances.
The one difference I will say is Felix put both of those off target. Now, obviously, one is the bar, but if you're like, in reality, that's still off target. So Sterling arguably better than Felix, because at least Sterling got both of his on target.
Yeah, but I also have to stay consistent, because I've done this multiple times in the past, where the difference between the game is literally somebody's not being able to finish. I'm going to give him a 6. I do think he was our best player today, but I do still give him a 6.
All right, then. Let's get to Kai Havertz and Mykhailo Mudryk then. Mudryk, a little bit concerned about him.
3.
Little bit concerned about him at the moment. You were going to say 3, Clutch, are you?
3. Terrible.
Yeah.
First touch is terrible. Runs into a defender every 5 seconds. Only decent moment was when he had the step over and he got around and got a foul. That's it. Other than that, he was terrible.
And the volley late almost decent, but it put it just wide. But yeah, I wouldn't even disagree with the rating, to be honest. Like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'll go 3 as well. Matt, would you go with a 3, or what did you make of Mudryk today?
Yeah, no, he was again horrible too. I mean, 80 million, this guy. I think he has that talent, but as Klaus said, just keep running to defenders. He'll try to take on, he'll fall. It's not what I want to see right now. I think he might be the 007 meme if he doesn't continue. But
yeah,
we pay 80 million for this man. I mean, 80 million, I expect something now. And, you know, he had the excuses that Cucurella wasn't passing the ball, he wasn't getting involved, but he got involved this game. It just wasn't enough. So, I don't know. I just don't want to see another Werner or like a Callum Munson doing him. I want to see him work out.
His first touch
It's
is
a lot of
genuinely concerning. It's genuinely concerning at this point.
I agree, actually. That is concerning.
He should start training on that instead of doing deadlifts and stuff. Just start training that first touch.
Too much muscle
I said
in
this in the
legs,
group chat earlier. It's legitimately concerning that Sterling and Pulisic still might start after these type of performances. It's genuinely concerning.
Because Sterling played well. I think coming next game, Sterling might start ahead of him. If we're talking about based off this game.
It's going to be interesting because I still think Sterling's then going to start on the right and Mudryk will start on the left still, but hey, who knows? We might have a new manager, so that could change everything. Aaron, what do you think? Is a 3 justified?
Yeah, it is justified. It's a big concern. Like, he's played, what is that? That's 5 games, I think now. But he looks like a bit of a dud, I can't lie. There was that little cameo against Liverpool where I was like, okay, we've got a player here. And then since then, it's been nothing short of bag of shit. Honestly, I've not seen anything that lifts me and moves me a bit where I'm like, okay, like you're giving something to the game at least. It's becoming a big concern. I think his biggest issue is he's way too fast for his own good. I think his legs move so much quicker than his brain. He just doesn't understand what to do a lot of the times. But it is a big concern. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's sort of managed in the squad in terms of, does he start? Does he come off the bench? But yeah, it's not looking great at the moment. So 3.
Fair enough. And then the last rating we're going to give out, Kai Havertz. He played 26 minutes today and he created the most chances in the match with 3. He also, in 26 minutes, had more touches than Mason Mount had in 64. He completed 2 out of 3 dribbles, which is more than Madueke. Pass accuracy of 72%. Let me just see how many dribbles did Sterling complete, just to see that.
I don't think Havertz completed more dribbles.
So, Havertz was literally the best of all of them. I'm going to give Havertz, on the basis of that, 3 chances created in 26 minutes is not bad,
Is Mudryk better than Show?
I'll say 6.5.
Yes, he is.
Something in me wants to say 7, but also no. Yeah, because the one he laid off to Sterling, he could also shoot himself, but then again, if he shoots himself and doesn't score, we're all screaming at him for not laying it off. And now that he lays it off and that guy doesn't score, we then blame him for not shooting. It's always just, if it works, we're happy. If it doesn't, we're not. So, yeah. But I will say that, Matt. What would you say about Kai Havertz? I know you're not the biggest fan, but I'm not sure if you disagree.
I think it surprised me today.
Yeah.
I think it surprised me. I mean, that assist to Sterling was a great cross. I was like, ooh, wow, that was good. So, again, he did his job on coming on and creating. So I'm not going to come and bash for. I think he did well. Probably give him a 6. But yeah, I think as a player, maybe we found his new role just to come on and be a what do we call it? Substitute, sub player, squad player. Just come on, maybe the last 20 minutes. I don't know, because I think he did all right today when he came on. He tried, and I think I lifted the spirits. I think he got 3 big chances. He did that cross Sterling, then cut it in, then another one. But he did all right.
I don't remember what the other one was either, if I'm honest. But the stats say he created 3. So.
Yes, that's the 3. So yeah,
there you go. All right,
Wasn't the one to Felix?
Sorry,
didn't he pass out just give it off to Felix and Felix shot?
I don't remember. It may be the case, maybe.
And Felix shot it right into the wall.
But Clutch, what would you give Havertz then?
6.5. I thought he was decent.
Okay.
You can kind of tell what he brings. He may not give you the finishing, but that's why you kind of rely on other people around him. And I think that's one of the biggest things at this club is you probably have 4 players who are finishers, good, so to say. Maybe 5, I don't know. But other than that, that's why.
Fair enough. Can't really argue with it. Aaron, 2 6.5s, 1 6. What are you going to give him?
I think I'll give him 6.5, the same as Sterling, because I do think he was good when he came on. I think he was quite involved in the game, obviously having 3 chances created in 26 minutes is impressive, considering it's only a small cameo. And I do think that him and Sterling, when they were on the pitch together, they looked lively. So I would go with the 6.5.
All right. Let me just add this one here. Yeah, I mean, something in me, like I say, still wants to say 7, but doesn't sort away anything. Anyway, 6.5, Chalobah and Gallagher get an NA. Can't even talk anymore. Even though Gallagher, to be fair, that moment where he was tanking himself through on the right wing, I'm like, if only any of our other players had done that for the entire rest of the game, basically, that would be quite good. Obviously, Gallagher didn't play left wing, and Havertz didn't play right wing, but I just put the players who they came on for. But yeah, at the end of the day, we lost another game. We are currently on 2 wins out of 15. We just Southampton, who are 20th, did the double over us. Obviously, they weren't 20th first time we played them. But still, Twitter also seems to be kind of down, at least for me, and at least for the UK. So we haven't really gotten much quotes from Graham Potter. I saw what Chelsea said, and he was saying, we stepped down in performance and blah, blah, blah. I guess I can read it out, but there's not much to it. I mean, what does he say? Let me read it out. I think it was a step backwards from Dortmund, certainly the performance in the first half. Returning from the Champions League and what goes into a game like that, we had to make some changes. From that, we lose a bit of fluidity and cohesion. Southampton mixed the game up well, but our performance wasn't where we wanted to be. I thought the response second half was good and we deserved to go. We created enough good chances to score, but when you don't, it's very difficult to win football matches. All right, Michael Owen. When you lose 1-0 at home to Southampton, with the greatest respect to them, it isn't good enough, and I take as much responsibility as anyone for that. Results haven't been good enough, and we just need to continue to work hard to turn things around. See, yes, you do need to continue to work hard to turn things around. The problem is you work hard, and we don't really see anything changing. That's where we're concerned about. That we've had a long time now with only 1 game a week. For once we even had 2 weeks off. Yes, a lot of the new players are coming in, but not even they're not all playing at the same time. And had to go from what Dortmund was to this today in the first half, that is shocking. And like I say, I was defensive of it, not in the sense that I always said our Potter will be the guy to bring us back to glory. That's never the standpoint I had. Standpoint I had was, well, let's wait and see when we actually get to a point where it's fair to judge him. Maybe we're still not at that point, but today was so bad that I'm like, compared to how much time you have had, it's not acceptable to be this bad. It just isn't. And yes, I still have my concerns by who we could be replacing him with, but I think he needs to be replaced. Then that's it now. I don't know the ins and outs in terms of, are we going to get rid of the whole staff as well? Because whoever the new manager is will probably want some of their staff too, and we're already arguably overstaffed in that sense. And Ashraf, yes, it seems like Twitter is down. What can I say? I don't even know what more to add. I mean, Clutch. Last words, Potter. I'm not quite sure if you were always quite on the same path as me, where you're like, there's no point. I was at a case of, okay, let's see what we can do, but also, yes, it's bad, but what's going to make it better? Who's going to be different? In the middle of a season with a ungelled, it's not a word, is it? But a squad that's not gelling together so far. Until now, a lot of injuries, but now you can't even say the whole injuries anymore. 95% of the players are fit now. So there's no excuses really almost anymore, is there?
No, I mean, like I said earlier, the only thing that I would use to defend against not sacking him today is, who do you get? I don't think Luis Enrique is going to do. Is he going to do better? Probably slightly, but as a long-term project manager that we all want, I don't know. He's just not available. Like, in my opinion, there's not too many that I would go for right now. And but something's got to change. And
yes. I mean, what are we going to do? Are we going to try to get Thomas Frank out of Brentford? Are we going to try to get Marco Silva out of Fulham? Are we gonna go for the bigger name ones like a Luis Enrique? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, we didn't go for the big name after we sacked Tuchel, did we? So I genuinely don't know what this board, if they
bring Tuchel back.
People don't think they're gonna.
He's never coming back. Let's not even.
Write an apology and bring him back.
He's never coming back. Never. All we're gonna do is just start.
See, I actually think again. If we did what Matt just said, write him an apology, I think Tuchel would come back. But I just don't think Bowley would do that, obviously.
No, because Bowley just doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, he wants him to be, anyway, I'm not going to get, don't bring Tuchel and just getting someone who's not part of it.
I'm just done with Tuchel. I don't care anymore. He's gone. We need to let it go.
I mean, hey, that's
You want a
very
short-term
good.
option? You
Yeah,
get to.
I mean, we took it until the summer. Maybe win the Champions League again.
I think. I think you get a world-class manager with these players, you can win the Champions League. We did it before with a average squad. We can do it again. To get a world-class manager in, you can win a Champions League. We've done it twice actually. So do it a third time.
Well, what Robbie did with Hill was most certainly not a world-class manager. I mean, that's
No, that is true. That is very true.
there we go. All right, Aaron, last words from your end about Potter. You were very clear about it from the get-go. Not get-go in terms of Potter's reign, but today. Yeah, Mourinho said he'd come back. Is that what we want, though? I don't know.
Nah,
It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
It would be fun. That's true. It would be fun. It would be entertaining.
I'd rather have fun than, not have fun anymore.
Be miserable. And to be honest, we spent the last 6 months be pretty miserable. So, a bit of fun.
Jose might actually fist fight Mason Mount. That'd be funny. I'd love to watch that.
Fist fight Mason Mount. That would be quite funny. He might also bring Tammy back, though. So, people might not want that one. But yeah, Aaron, what you got to say?
I think my name on here says enough. It's thank you, Mr. Graham, for ruining my life. It's time to get the fuck out.
Sorry.
Imagine we get Jesse Marsh instead. You change your mind straight away and you keep Potter.
Mate, if we get Jesse Marsh, we're just going to have to outscore the opponent. That's it. And we can't score, so we're fucked.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we round this one out. Appreciate all the people that have come on today. Big shout out to Jester, first and foremost. He had to sort some shit out, but please do still follow his Twitter. Please do follow Matt on his YouTube channel. I linked it down in the description below. Check it out. Help him get a few more subscribers in. I'm not sure how long ago he started his YouTube channel, but, obviously being in Australia, with timescales to get it happen as regularly. I'm sure you're tired of shit, bro, but appreciate
it's 6 a.m., man. I went out before, and it's like, Chelsea, I can't sleep now because of Chelsea, but I'll try to go to sleep now at 6 a.m.
Hey, at least it's Saturday. Well, Sunday for you. All right, Aaron, appreciate it. Clutch, appreciate it. The links are down in the description. Follow them on Twitter. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, Alberton onwards. Let's see when we're going to turn up with a new stream for a new manager. Maybe never, and we'll play Spurs on the weekend, and we just have to hope and pray. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, Alberton onwards, and we'll see you next time.